copies are monochrome. If you've been paying attention to the Deltarune fandom lately, you've probably been seeing people quoting this little Rudin from the Seven Flying Aces. The reason that this guy's statement is so significant is because he's referencing the Goners from Undertale, and since the Goners are linked to Gaster, at the sight of this text box, the entire Delta community collectively pooed themselves. And as a Deltarune fan, now that we have another micro piece of information about old WD, it is my duty to write a theory so crackpot it might as well be fanfiction. Before we start, I need to establish a few things so that I can reference them a singular time later. First of all, this thing that Asgore has, that is a shadow crystal. And believe me, I know what you're saying, Orin, he calls it a black shard. But to that, I say no. He calls it this black shard. If Asgore was snooping in Carol's room going, "Gosh, I sure am grateful to have a black shard," that would be one thing. But Asgore says this black shard. And the word this implies that the word black is, as the kids call it, an adjective. He's describing a shard of glass as black, which fits perfectly into the light world descriptions of the shadow crystals. And lastly, while I know someone's gonna be like, "Oh, but if you mod the game, there's actually a katana here." But personally, I think that this is bait. I do not count any evidence for or against any theory as long as said evidence isn't in the base game. This is also why I won't be using any cut content for this theory. Unfortunately, not all of our prerequisites are out of the way just yet, because believe it or not, I've seen folks arguing that the Dark Worlds are not meant to represent escapism. If you aren't sure what that means, I can all but guarantee that each Dark World so far has had a theme associated with them, with all of those themes being a form of escapism. Chapter 1 was tabletop games, Chapter 2 was the internet, Chapter 3 was television, and Chapter 4 was either storytelling or religion. Anyway, now that we have that covered, let's talk about the main character of this theory, Asgore. Since Flower King is probably the next Dark World, this furry DILF femboy maid is as relevant as ever. And I'm just gonna rip off the band-aid here and say, Asgore is a sad man, stuck in the past. From as early as Chapter 1, we knew that he wanted things to just go back to what it was like in the good old days. This will be very relevant in Chapter 5, given that there are objects strewn around the floor of Flower King that represent those times. One such object there is a TV that is in black and white, aka monochrome. This is told to us by the Shutta in TV World, who states that in the early days of that Dark World, there used to be a time of black and white. This has led many fans to believe that before Tenna, Toriel and Asgore had a black and white TV, this being the same TV that Asgore now keeps within the Flower King. I've seen people argue that this would be strange for Asgore to keep something from back when him and Toriel were together, but for Asgore, this is commonplace. We know he at least has kept him and Toriel's wedding photos, so something less direct, like a TV, would be much closer to normal by comparison. Now, Asgore holding on to these photos and TV shows that he is a very sentimental person. We also know that Asgore used to like a black and white cowboy show that was unfortunately cancelled. This leads me to the idea that because of Asgore's living space reflecting how stuck in the past he is, the Flower King Dark World's theme of escapism is going to be nostalgia. And yeah, you probably got that from the video title, but this idea goes to infinity and beyond that. If you looked closely at all to this prophecy window in Chapter 4, you would notice that this is closer to Asgore's Undertale design. The idea that Asgore in his own Dark World will be a literal Flower King with darker subjects that parallel his nostalgic ideals becomes infinitely more relevant when you remember, oh yeah, this guy has a shadow crystal. Previously, we have seen 2 examples of crazy, freedom-wanting, Gaster-adjacent freaks being driven to madness by a shadow crystal. The only non-night crystal holder we haven't seen go crazy is Gerson, but that's because he didn't actually use his. I suspect that Asgore's monochrome-related TV could be offered the shadow crystal by Asgore, since we know that he likes that old cowboy show, giving him a reason to befriend his TV in Darkner form. But no. That's just Woody theory with extra steps. Might I remind you that according to Sham, this is the last shadow crystal that we're gonna get. I don't think that Toby's gonna have the penultimate secret boss be a Toy Story reference. This is gonna be bigger than Woody. I believe that Asgore himself is going to be the secret boss of Chapter 5. So, why would Asgore be a good candidate? I'm a Deltarune fan, and I need to see a pattern validated right now. Well, I hear you, Deltarune fan. First of all, Asgore wants something. He wants things to go back to the way they were. Many theorists have pointed out that all the secret bosses have distinct responses to the phrase, "your choices don't matter." For Asgore, his freedom could be not making such choices, staying the same. And while, like other once consistent trends broken by chapters 3 and 4, I loved you, chess theory, may you rest in chess pieces. The first 2 secret bosses both had a Gaster pipeline that gave them their information. Jevil went mad because of the Roaring Night, and we know this because King states that it was Jevil that told him of the Knight's brilliance. And Spamton's knowledge came from Mike on the phone. And to tell you the truth, we don't exactly know about Gerson. This might be consistent just with the Knight as an exception, but Gerson tells Susie that someone wanted him to use the Shadow Crystal. But anyway, I believe that an Asgore secret boss will be the restoration of this Gartic phone-like Gaster trend, with Asgore, who is emotionally vulnerable and unable to let go, being manipulated by a grayscale, emotionally loaded TV darkener, a la Copies Are Monochrome, who represents both Asgore's nostalgia as the cowboy show he misses, and a reminder of his past marriage. Now, I don't know how this TV character would actually be in cahoots with Gaster, but I also can't fathom how a spam email gets a call from a cat creature or a tree man. Another thing I've seen be pointed out is that Spamton's fight could be seen as a form of redemption for salty Undertale fans who wished we got an actual Mettaton Neo battle. And similar to this, an amped up Asgore secret boss could also be seen as a remedy for the fact that Asgore never absorbed the 6 human souls during the Undertale genocide route, causing an anticlimactic ending. And might I remind you that within the Flower King, there are suspiciously soul-colored flowers that could become something powerful for Asgore to absorb or take hold of in the Dark World. Additionally, Undertale itself is now 10 years old. Kids who grew up with Undertale might have nostalgia while playing Deltarune, and while I don't really think it means anything, Undertale's battles were also monochrome. In conclusion, I believe that Chapter 5's Flower King Dark World will be all about nostalgia, and feature a TV as a darkener, personified by Asgore's Inferno of Jealousy, and linked to Gaster by its black and white nature. I am obviously not saying the TV itself has to be the darkener in this prediction. I could totally see a personification of the cowboy show being the scary goner guy, but that's a little close to Woody theory for me. And the point here is the character manipulating Asgore. Also, this is the most Tumblr-looking OC, please do not steal thing that's ever existed. Even if everything in this theory is correct, this won't be. Toby does not design things this way. Anyway, please comment any issues you find with this theory. I love discussing anything Deltarune, and I'll defend this idea with the free time of an unemployed bum. Makes sense I'm doing an Asgore video, huh? But thanks for watching my first video. Subscribe so I can make more of these, and I'm gonna leave you off with the fact that I wrote Gooner instead of Goner in the script. I'm Oren, you're awesome, have an amazing rest of your day.